A wise man once said, if you want to change the world, start with making your bed. A less wiser man has also said, if you want to crush 2024, start with a morning routine.
Enjoy the episode.
If you're an investor or want to be an investor and you're looking to create passive income that exceeds your monthly expenses, then this is the podcast for you. Here on the Infinite Wealth Podcast, we combine the philosophies of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad along with Nelson Nash's infinite banking concept. Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. I'm Cameron Christensen, along with our co-host Anthony Faso. And as we mentioned, today we are going to help you guys crush 2024, and that starts with your morning routine. Anthony, you excited about today?
I tell you, I am excited today. This is a little different type of episode, which I'm looking forward to. But Cameron, before we jump in, I wanted to clarify, who are you alluding to as the less wiser man? I don't know if that was a dig or a compliment.
Oh, that was a dig for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But true.
Yeah. It's true in both ways. I've got a reference later. I'll let our listeners know about it. But
okay.
Yeah. And guys, today is what, January 4th, and we are recording this. We wanted to record this earlier and push this out beginning of the new year and give you guys an idea on how to get ahead of 2024 and kind of set your intentions for the year. And so that's was our thoughts behind this episode, is we're giving you guys insights into why we believe a morning routine is so important. We're actually going to be sharing our morning routines with each other. And then also we'll finish this up by giving you guys some suggestions on how you guys can create a morning routine if you don't have one.
Great. And I tell you, I'm excited. Most of our podcasts have really been about infinite banking or creating passive income. But in order to achieve those goals, you need to have your mind right.
Yeah.
And the best way to start that is in the morning. So we will be having some more episodes on topics, not just on infinite banking and passive income, but more of getting the mind right. So we're starting with this one, starting with your morning routine.
Yeah. And in the true Infinite Wealth fashion is we have prepared our own material. So I'm excited to kind of see what you've got to say here, and I'll be sharing mine. So
I tell you what, I would like to know what people think.
What?
What
my morning routine is?
No, but who's we're very competitive. Or at least we established on a podcast episode a while back how very competitive you are. And so let's just relay that. I'm curious what people might think is who delivered the better meaning of a morning routine,
or who's got a better one. I mean,
yeah,
not that we're competing.
Well, I'm interested. I'm interested to hear your morning routine, and I'm hoping it's gonna you're gonna reveal some information about your hair routine as well.
Maybe,
because I gotta imagine that's part of the morning. That's probably before you even do anything else, is what I assume. But I'm excited to hear.
Speaking of being excited, Anthony, I'm going to tee it up. We both have written down a couple things, so I'll throw it to you. Why do you think a morning routine is important? What came to mind?
A number of things. And I think that one of the most important thing is you're starting off your day on a productive foot. Like you're already accomplishing some things at the beginning of the day. And I feel that the morning, or at least for me, that's the only part of my day that I have full control. Like, because I typically wake up before the rest of the house. And so that's the me time. And if I were to do these things later in the day, I'm bound to find some excuses not to do it. So this allows me to focus on some of the habits I'm trying to create at the time of day that is conducive for me. And this allows me to develop good habits. It reduces the stress. What I also like is I wake up with purpose. I wake up, I got to do these things. I got things to do. So as soon as it forces me to pop out of bed, not hit the snooze button, but I wake up with purpose. And it also helps with my physical and mental health, which I need a lot on both of those.
A lot of help,
right?
A lot of help needed.
It forces me to take time for myself. I'd also say, and if I don't do it in the morning, I'm going to find an excuse not to do it. But I would say maybe the second most important thing is this is what high achievers do. Like, Cameron, as you know, I'm not that creative, right? But I'm good at doing research, right? Or taking what other people are doing and put my own spin on it. And so I found that a lot of successful people have a strict morning routine. That's reason enough for me to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what started me having a morning routine, but then kind of developing one that was more customized to me just reinforces the reason why it's been helpful for me. Cameron, why do you think having a morning routine is important?
Well, I think I was trying to keep track of your points there. I think you had 9.
There was a ton.
There's 9. I think
it's not
that
a
you
competition.
Highlighted. So I actually wrote down 10, but I'm only going to read 4. Is some of the benefits of having a morning routine for me. Number 1, mental health for sure. And under that mental health, kind of what came to mind for me was just a stress relief. Is being in our position as an advisor, as a father, as a Christian, is, man, there's a lot of stress that comes along with that. And so to be able to kind of push some of that stuff aside is tremendous. Also is mentally challenging. And the reason I wrote that down is part of the mental aspect of it is that, man, is I do lift weights in the morning with my son. And I think the fact that you going out there and I want to say competing, but finishing the rep or staying in the fight is the way that I communicate that to my son. I think that is a really big part of kind of mental conditioning. And right, one of the conversations I've had with my son around that is that, man, if you go to the gym and you watch people just on that last rep or two, man, a lot of people will quit after a second or two of fighting. Very few times do you see somebody stick into that fight for 8-10 seconds or more. And so him and I've had conversations around that. And so just that mental challenge, I think, is a big piece to it. But also I sleep better. I'm healthier. That helps me make way better decisions when it comes to diet. And then 2 last things. Number 1 is I do feel accomplished. And this is what I led in with on our intro, was that there's a video out there of a gentleman. He's a U.S. Navy admiral. His name is William H. McRaven. And his video is titled, "If You Want to Change the World, Make Your Bed." Great video. You guys may have seen it, but if you haven't, we'll make sure it's in the show notes. Mm-hmm. Watch that. It's probably a 6-minute video. And it is just a tremendous speech that he gives. But there's 2 things that I took away. One is the little things matter, and the first task of many has been completed. Great perspective on starting your day with a morning routine. And the last one that I want to add here, sorry if I'm going long, is that one additional benefit that you'll see is that as a parent, your kids are watching. Yeah. And so I was thinking about kind of the benefits of this morning routine. And that was one of the first ones that came to mind. It's completely intangible. But I started thinking about some of the ways that I hear my kids start to talk. And I've got 2 daughters, and I'll hear them talk about, hey, I want muscles like mom. Right.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Right. And then the other day I was driving home with my son, and my son made a comment, and he was like, hey, Dad, how long do you think it'll be until I'm as strong as you are? Right.
As strong or stronger?
Stronger is where he was going. And I told him never.
I'm going to talk to him, maybe give him a little hints, some tips.
Right. But man, that was just reinforcing the fact that the kids are always watching. And so whether you guys have conversations about it or not, they're watching what you do. And so that's a great benefit of having a morning routine.
Cam, I like the last piece about others are watching. Mm-hmm. It's very important. And it also reminded me when you're talking about doing one more rep, it reminded me of The Power of One More by Ed Milet, which is just doing one more rep or one more of anything. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Or one more example more than you. But we'll cut it off there. Go ahead. Is Anthony. So second part of kind of our conversation is, guys, we're going to share our morning routines with you. And we'd love to get some feedback, maybe something that you've incorporated over the years that you see has been valuable to you. But Anthony, I'll tee it up for you, man. Tell us a little bit about your morning routine.
I will say, first, I'm going to be realistic. I don't do this every morning. Like I wish I did. And the days that I don't, I feel it throughout the day.
Mm.
And I really should be doing this on the weekend, but to be honest, I don't. But this has kind of challenged me to incorporate that every day. But what I start in the morning, the first thing I do is what I don't do is I don't look at my phone.
Okay.
That can be distracting for me. And then I start thinking about the day or worries. So first thing I do is I will stretch. And I know I'm in my 50s. And if you're listening to this thinking, oh, that's just an old man deal, believe one piece of advice I would give younger people is do a little bit amount of stretching. That will pay dividends for the rest of your life. So I do some stretching. I will do an exercise, and that may vary from like a hike, or I have a home gym, so or take a class or lift weights or work on the core. Then I immediately after, because what I found is these needs to be right after each other, or I will find an excuse not to do the next thing. But so I have my little home office after I stretch, I exercise, and then I read some part of the word. For me, I use the YouVersion Bible app, and they have a little daily scripture and a little support behind that. So that really takes me like 5 to 10 minutes. I will do that, and then I will meditate. I use the Calm app, which has I need guided meditations because it's still difficult for me to stay focused. But also, what I like about the Calm app, it tells you like the streaks that you have, and the longest streak I've had has been 22 days. Because again, the weekends, the weekends get me. But I will tell you, once I was on that streak, like I'm trying to hit it, and it reinforces me, or it's another incentive to ensure that I do it for the next day. And then after that, I will journal. And I will tell you, journal or expressing myself in written word, very difficult for me. It actually gives me it increases my blood pressure. It's not something that I really like to do. So what I found is I had learned this about this is called the 5-minute journal, right? And I would recommend it to anybody who wants to journal, maybe doesn't know how or apprehensive. This book is, I think it's great. It starts with a little, either a quote or a weekly challenge. Then it has a list of 3 things that you are grateful for. Then like what would make today great? And you list 3 things. And then there is a daily affirmation, which you can make up yourself. And then we're also like at night, it has 3 highlights of the day. And then also, what did you learn today? So
that's good.
I would tell you, I started doing the beginning, but I just would forget. It wasn't part of my habit to do the nightly piece. But I will say, when I found out when I did do that, a lot of times I might be stressed or maybe think today wasn't as productive, but taking that time to look at some things I'm grateful for, and also a couple things that some highlights of the day, it reinforces that day was not lost. Okay. And then finally, what I will do is and this one is brand new, I'm just starting it this year, is I'm reviewing my calendar. And what I did, I saw this guy on Instagram, Jesse Itzler. Are you familiar with him? Very interesting guy. Entrepreneur, had some successful businesses, but what he talks about, and he calls it the big ass calendar, and it is huge. But some of the things that he talks about is we only have so many summers, is kind of how he describes it. And I'm turning 52 here shortly, and 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 a friend of mine had mentioned when we turned 50, he's like, hey man, we got 15 good years left. Wow. And that really put things into perspective. But I'm stretching it out to 70. I'm hoping that I'm going to be physically and mentally capable of doing things until I'm 70. But what that means is I have about 18 summers left. But when you put that into perspective, you realize that time is finite. And there's a lot of things that I would like to accomplish. And unless I put them on a calendar or plan for them, I'm not going to accomplish them. So I'm adding to my daily routine to review this calendar, which is also a reminder of how many summers I have, but also that the important things that I want to accomplish. This isn't a business calendar, but this is more of personal calendar for like date nights and vacations and experiences with my children. Okay, so that is my morning routine, Cameron. I saw you taking notes. I appreciate it.
I actually wrote down, when is he going to finish? That's what that says down here. Yeah, that's what that says.
Cameron, let's hear your morning routine.
Yeah. Wow. Maybe I took a little different perspective of my morning routine. I actually wrote down what I do. The morning routine, my alarm goes off at 4:43. It goes off 4:43, 5 days a week. I get up and I go downstairs, and 3 of the days a week, I'm walking downstairs, waking my son up and telling him he's got 10 minutes before we leave. And so we wake up, we go to the gym, we work out at 5:30, then we head back to the house. Everyone at our house is out the door at 7:35, 7:40. So we get back to the house about 6:30. We jump in the shower, make breakfast for everybody. We hang out, and then the kids are off to school. And then I'm off to the office. And right now my day is starting at about 8:15. And that's okay, right? That's all right for my work day. If I had a preference, I would like to start my day closer to like 7:15, 7:30. And to be honest, the reason I want to do that, it just makes me feel like I'm better than everybody. Is if I can get out there, start my day 2 hours before 9 o'clock, I feel like, man, you know what? I got a jump start on the day. And I like to send emails. I like to get into stuff. And that's when I'll look at my day, prep it, and then make sure that I've got everything kind of last minute in order for me. And so that's kind of it. The takeaway that I had is I was looking at my morning routine from 4:40 all the way up until about 8:15. It's pretty precise, right? There's not a lot of margin in there. But if I look at my morning routine, there is 2 parts of my morning that I really envy. One is actually the way to the gym with my son, and then also on the way home. And so what I'll do on the way to the gym is I'll put on some music and we'll kind of listen to it. But on the way home is I'll put on a sermon. And so I've had that routine for quite a while now, where I'll throw on, TD Jakes, Stephen Furtick, something like that, and we'll listen to it. But here's a trick for all you parents out there. Is probably my son works out probably 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week. And one of the days I won't turn the radio on the way there. And so it usually takes about 5 minutes of silence, and then he starts talking. I hope he doesn't hear this, because I don't want him to know my trick. But usually 1 day a week is I won't turn that radio on, and it takes a minute, but he does start talking. And I don't know if it's just the silence or the lack of kind of noise that opens it up. But man, that's a little trick that I'll share with you guys there. So a great little nugget on a way to get your kid to talk is just sit in silence for a minute. No electronics, no nothing going, and they'll open up to you.
Cameron, I love the way that you are intentional with your kids, with the exercising and these little things. And I know you shared some things about having them read books, and they're working for their money. So good job.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right, Anthony. So we've gone over kind of our morning routines. Again, in the comments, you guys can tell me how much better mine is than Anthony's. But now we do have to move on. So Anthony, we've got some suggestions for you guys on ways that you guys can establish your own morning routine. And Anthony, I'll let you go first.
Well, I would say when I first started that routine, I had heard about it, and I knew that it was something I wanted to do, but I didn't know how. So somebody had recommended actually, it was our coach for EOS, Nina, had recommended a book called Miracle Morning. Very good book. It's an easy read, but in summary, what he talks about is before your day starts, is you accomplish these 6 things, and so you have a time of silence, of affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and writing. We're going to put a link into that website so you can get more information. And that's how I started. But then I tweaked it so it fit more into my schedule and also more of what I had wanted to accomplish. I would say I don't really do affirmations or visualizations, but this has opened my eyes to maybe incorporate some of that. But my advice to you would be start slow, right? The last thing we want to do is, all right, I'm going to knock out, or if you follow Mark Wahlberg's daily routine, which I thought that's where you were starting with, waking up so early. But we want to make sure that we set it up, that we set ourselves up for success. So I would recommend start with a few things, and then once you get comfortable, you can add on to it. Also, I would tell yourself the night before of what you're doing in the morning. Make that mental note that, hey, when the alarm wakes up, I'm not hitting the snooze. I'm going to get up, and this is what I am going to do. And then once you establish this for a while, you can just make a couple tweaks to fit into your schedule. Nice. What advice do you have, Cam?
Really similar, right? Because I wrote down.
So you got some good advice then. Awesome.
Finally, right? Is what I wrote down was find what recharges you. You had really good examples. What I wrote down was find something, if it's working out, if it's reading scripture or sitting in silence, find something that recharges you. That is key. And then also the second one that you also had was set your intentions the night before. If I've got my choice, or if I think about sleeping in when that alarm goes off, my chances of not getting out of bed increase dramatically. So set the alarm, make sure you've already made that decision. There should be no second guessing yourself once you do that. If you can do that the night before, you're setting yourself up for success. The other thing I would tell you to set yourself up with success is try to make the least amount of decisions as you can in the morning and just make it autopilot. The example that I wanted to share, I don't know if I want to share, but I will share with you, is that I actually wear the same outfit to work out in every single day. Right? I've got several different shirts and different shorts of it, but it's the same thing every day, is because I don't want to have that decision to make on whatever it is, right, that changes. And so I try to make as minimal decisions as I can at 5 o'clock in the morning as I possibly can. That way everything is on autopilot, and just get up and get out the door. So that would be my advice.
Good job.
Guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode and that this was valuable and helpful for you guys to set your intentions for 2024.
Go make it a fantastic day.
Take care.
If you like this video, I know you're like this one. And if you want to learn how investors use infinite banking to increase their returns and lower their taxes, check this out. And if you have some questions and want to see if infinite banking is for you, hop on a discovery call with us. Link for that will be in the description.